Hello and welcome to another edition of Unpopular Reviews. Thank you for joining us this evening as we are reviewing none other than Hocus Pocus Deuce. And let's just say that, in my opinion, it was fun. What do you guys think?
All right. So first off, straight off the bat, this is Eight Tales of Terror. I'm back for my biannual appearance here on Unpopular Review Entertainment Edition, strictly
Movie
for
wise.
this reason. Because if you can recall, our very first Eight Tales of Terror, I picked Hocus Pocus. That was one of my two picks because I am in love with this franchise. And I was so excited when they just announced that they had a sequel coming out 29 years later. So watch the trailer, all of that. You can check that out on my channel, see the Superior. But I was able to watch Hocus Pocus 2 the day it dropped. So I was there right in my living room, September 30th, to watch the whole thing. I watched it 3 times since then. Sorry, 2 times since then. So a total of 3. And I have a couple gripes with the movie, not
I'm
gonna lie.
surprised. I thought you were going to be absolutely head over heels in love with this movie. I really did.
You thought, but I'm full of surprises. So, number
So,
one, I wasn't so much feeling the flashback. I feel like it was a little long. I feel like they probably could have cut a lot of that out
at the beginning,
at the beginning
Hmm.
with the young sisters. I swear to
I
God,
like that part.
baby Winifred
Me too.
was carrying the scenes. You like that part?
Yeah,
I
it made
thought
me
they
want to go
all
to
did a
Salem.
very good job. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
It made me want to go to Salem. Like I started like looking it up and seeing like what it's like. Especially like since
I don't get it.
you know what the thing is, a lot of people over here they go over there for like Sleepy Hollow and they do all this stuff to like get scared in the woods. So it made me want to go do that. Like it is interesting. I really want to go see that colonial village.
But the scene in the woods with the ancient magic witch,
Yeah, that was corn.
very much corn.
Yeah.
That
And I was
scene might have lasted a little bit longer. I'll give you that.
yes,
You know what though?
yes.
But I think because that bird lady, the one that
Mhm.
turns into a bird,
The
I got a
witch that
feeling
she just mentioned.
I got a feeling there's gonna be more with her. You know what I'm saying? I got a feeling there's gonna be. I got a feeling this is
I
the
got a
start
feeling
to
this
it.
is the
So
end. This
nah,
is
nah, bro. I think there's more to this. I think
So
there's definitely more to this. I
my
think that's how
issue
they set it up.
with her, the witch, the grand witch, we'll say, the costume was ridiculous. Now Hocus Pocus had fantastic costumes. It wasn't like overly Halloweenish. They looked to be not necessarily period accurate, but very much on brand for witches, right? This one seemed like they picked it up at frickin' Party City. She even had a goddamn like I don't even know what it is. It's something embroidered on the front of the dress that was looking really stupid and costumey. Very much
I didn't
disappointed.
see any of that.
You didn't say I saw
I
it.
didn't pay
I don't know
attention.
how you
I didn't
missed
pay
it.
attention.
Okay. Her showing up, that I just didn't do it for me. And I get what the reason why they had to do it, to kind of lay the groundwork and give more of a motive for this movie, as opposed to doing the same thing for the first one where they're trying to gather up all the kids. um but yeah, the beginning flashback, I wish they would have cut it shorter, or maybe found a different way to lay the groundwork. um Next gripe, Becca, the main character, the main girl of the movie, because the main
Okay.
characters were clearly the sisters,
Right.
but the kids of the show. This actress, very beautiful girl. She's in Gossip Girl too, if you guys are familiar with it, the new
Did
one on
not.
HBO.
Did
Oh,
not.
it's good. It's very spicy. If you wanted like a good, like, spicy drama filled show, watch Gossip
I'll
Girl.
take your word for it.
But
Mm.
I don't know that her acting ability is where I would like it to be, but I understand she's a young actress and growing with her skill. But her character just seemed a little too bland, a little too one note. I wasn't really invested in her the same way I was invested in like Max and Danny and everything. So that whole story with them, it didn't catch me. I was primarily and solely there for the sisters, the Sanderson sisters. um, they stole the show as expected. The chemistry was there. The songs were fantastic, even though the first song kind of threw me off. I was just kind of planted. It was just a their song, but it kind of made sense with how they ended it, the reason why they were doing it, the reason why the song was there. But not to monopolize too much of the time, I did have one or two things that I pointed out that I didn't like.
Okay.
But yeah.
Dick, what you think?
Okay. Well, um, all right. Number one, this clearly was a money grab because it went straight to VHS, right? And now
Streaming is not necessarily a bad thing nowadays.
it's
It's not a
not.
Walmart.
No.
It's definitely not. I don't. I agree. I'm
Granted, I
not
would have
saying it's a
preferred to see
bad
this
thing.
in the theater.
I'm certainly.
Me too.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But my point is this: is just that it's a niche market. There was a demand for this. There's been a demand for this for a very very long time, and I feel like they definitely did it justice. If they were just trying to make money, I'm sure they made it. However, the reason I think there's going to be more of a continuance to this is because the beginning of the movie, you have the old lady. You have the old lady that turns into a bird, right? And then she has all of this stuff and she gives these girls these powers. Then hundreds of years pass after you see her again.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And man, the majority of the movie, you barely see her again till the very end when
Yes,
she's just
facts.
flying in. So I feel like this was a bit of a passing of the torch. And I think that it's going to go well because there is a witch culture. I don't think that there's a show that's dominating the witch culture. I could be wrong, but there is a witch culture. There's a lot of girls that like this stuff, and that's why I like this movie. This movie was really really popular. Now, at the same time, I think that is good timing. I think a lot of people are gonna just want to see it just because of that. But honestly, like I really like the way that they figured out a way to bring back all of the characters, especially Book. Yes,
Especially Book. Book had a
Book
lot of
was the best.
personality this
Yes,
movie, more so
yes.
than the first one.
Exactly. That's what I liked about it. They really implemented book really, really well in this movie. And mind you, and that's another reason why I think there's going to be a continuance to this because the girls walk away with book. Book ends up
Yes.
with a new owner, a person with new powers, and then mind you, you barely really get to see how far her powers can go. The little girls.
Hmm.
Well, she's
You know what I
starting.
mean? Like so, like I feel like there's either going to be a Hocus Pocus 3 or some type of continuing some kind of show because it's
There
Disney.
can't
I wouldn't be
be.
surprised if they just roll
Uh,
the dice and throw money at this and then see what happens. Because I mean,
There
they got
can't
it.
be. You can't do it without the Sanderson sisters.
yeah, I don't. I think they left that door open just in case they wanted to like make more money off of it. But I would not be here for Hocus Pocus 3 without the Sanderson sisters. I don't give a
Mhm,
damn about Becca learning to use her powers and in the book that
mhm.
I would not tune in for that.
Okay.
So
I
if they
mean, but
do plan on making the
somebody
third
might.
one,
That's the reality. That's the thing. That's the reason why I
Someone
feel like
might, and
they
just
set
because
it
of the
up.
name
They
alone,
set
you
it up
might
like
end up
that
seeing it.
because the thing
I
is,
get it.
I feel
Not
like
you,
this was
Superior. But
passing
I'm
the
saying
torch to the
Vic has
youngins
a
like
point.
everything else.
Vic has a point. Just you slap the Hocus Pocus name on it, put book in there, a few nuances, and yeah, maybe somebody will
Hmm.
see it. But
yeah,
I
but
agree
that's
with you
like
1%.
cheapening the franchise at that
I
point. But
agree.
they did leave it
But you know
open.
what? The
It
last
was still.
conversation you and I had, one of the last conversations when I was up north not too
Mhm.
long ago, is I told you I didn't really. I felt like this might cheapen this series as it was,
Well,
and I'm
this
not
already
saying that
did.
it did because I enjoyed this, and I'll talk more about it as soon as Vic is done. But I
Mhm.
mean, it definitely wasn't up there with the first one.
I mean, I agree. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. It definitely had a coming to America feel. You know what I mean?
I still haven't seen the sequel.
Wow. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, it's good, but it's not what people was just like. That's why I feel like this does the same thing,
Sometimes
right?
time matters.
But then
Sometimes
the
the time does matter.
but then the
Yeah.
thing is that the reality. Well, at least one thing that I'm starting to notice is just that, like, the older you get, the less your opinion matters as far as when it comes to entertainment. So, like,
Not the demographic you're looking for.
yeah, it's a younger demographic. I got a feeling I like a lot of young people might be like, oh, the Seven Sisters are over. Let's see what the new witches want.
I will
Um,
say, I watched it the second time with my nephews. And my nephew, we after watching the second one, he never seen the first one.
mm,
We watched the first one, and he enjoyed the first one more than the second one.
look at
He
I
said
that.
just think
he,
the first one overall, and
Okay.
this is a spoiler when we get the final thoughts, but I just enjoyed the first one overall a lot better. I just thought it was they hit the tone of seriousness and goofy a little bit better in the first one, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the second one, I hate to use this word, but I will say that this is probably the happiest day of your life. I was thinking about you when I watched this movie because there were a lot of scenes I'm looking at. I was like, yeah, this is definitely a money grab. You can tell they just wanted to bring them all back together. They make a little bit of money. But one thing I did like about the fact it was a money grab is I could tell that Sarah Michelle Gellar and Kathy Najimy and Bette Miller were having a great time. They eased right back into it. It didn't feel like 29 years have passed. It felt like they turned to dust and then they woke back up. The chemistry was completely there. Nothing changed at all. And I did appreciate that aspect of the fact that they were back. And they tried everything they could to try to make it feel a little bit fresh. But yeah, it was a bit of a rehash. And it wasn't as interesting as when they were trying to suck the kids' lives, I will say.
Suck the lives out of all the children of Salem.
Instead of her going for the ultimate power, I just felt like it was a little much. But
I'm not gonna lie though, I love the evolution of the witch's broom. I loved how they figured that out with the little robotic brooms that everybody uses now. Because everybody that buys the house, that's the first thing you get.
It was stupid.
And I loved it.
I loved it.
It was good to the part when the broomies, as she called it.
That was awesome.
No, that was smart. I thought it was.
It
smart.
should not have been in. But salt is supposed to repel the magic, so it's the broomies should have stopped working. I hate to nitpick, but they should have.
Well, what if they did stop working magically? But because they're brooms. They're vacuums. They're just doing what they're to do.
Go ahead, try to make that make sense.
I'm just saying.
Go ahead with your bad self.
I'm just saying.
As soon as this roomie showed up and cleaned that up, I was rooting for the bad guy. I so popped when I saw that. I was so happy when they cleaned that up.
Call
that was so great.
Let's get right down to the nitty gritty. One Way or Another. That was the major song that they had in this one. And they tried to go all out for this one with the dance number and everything like that. Did it have the effect of I Put a Spell on You?
No, only because I Put a Spell on You is inherently spooky and Halloween-esque. One Way or Another, it has no connection to like witchcraft or Halloween or anything like that. I kind of understand why they did it because it fit kind of nicely with the spell casting, that they did in the first one, and then I Put a Spell on You. But no, I think that I Put a Spell on You fit better with the movie. But I wasn't mad at it.
I did not like it the first time I heard it. I've heard it since. I didn't watch the movie again, but I have heard it since. And I've enjoyed it more the second and third time that I've heard it. It's still, I agree with you completely. It's still not in there with I Put a Spell on You, but I think the dance number made it a little bit better. And the fact that they were doing it with the Sanderson sisters,
cosplay.
It's fun. It was more like a drag thing to me sometimes.
Yeah.
I've been in a drag show, so it was like I've been to drag shows.
Exactly.
So it's like it was interesting to see, and I thought that was cute. But overall, the story, the principal, the blood of it just
the governor or the mayor.
It felt a little flat to me at times. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I can see that.
What else I got? Anything before we go to final thoughts and thumbs up, thumbs down?
I mean, at the end of the day, they rolled the dice and figured it out.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll find out what else we're going to have on Popular Review Entertainment, as well as See the Superiors channel. Stay with us. You're watching Unpopular Review.
Hi, my name is See the Superior. Thanks for coming to see me. It's been a little while, but
here we go again.
Today we're going to be watching.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us as we discuss Hocus Pocus 2. And I think that we're about to say our final thoughts. Should I be the first one again?
We are. Okay. Final thoughts. Okay, cool. Ladies first.
So now, go ahead. There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well,
Vic was about to go right into it.
Wait up. Like, where's my manners at?
Well, I will say again, I'm very excited to be back with you guys on Eight Tales of Terror to discuss Hocus Pocus again, my favorite Halloween movie. As far as Hocus Pocus 2 is concerned, was it as good as the first one? No. Let's get that out the way now. No, it wasn't good as the first one. But considering it's been 29 years, I think they did a good job of bridging that gap And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And the sisters, the Sanderson sisters, are what did it for me. Great chemistry, like Chris said. It was just magical, full of nostalgia seeing them again. It's like almost no time has passed. They still look great. For me, the fault lied in the movie with the lackluster chemistry with the kids. That whole story didn't really pull me in. And also, sometimes it could have had a little bit more scare to it. Even in Hocus Pocus, we saw
I
some
agree.
things that we probably shouldn't have seen as kids. Like we saw
100%.
them actually be hung, all three of them. We saw the what's her name, Zachary Bink's sister. She died in the movie,
Almost the
and
very first
they
scene.
didn't have. Yeah, they didn't have that scare factor here. And not there wasn't a point where I was like, "Oh, this is kind of kind of scary," or they didn't have that spook. So I wish that that would have been added, but I'm still going to give it a thumbs up. It's a good sequel. I enjoyed it, and I'll watch it again.
All right, but go ahead.
All right. So, I call this Hocus Pocus 1.5 because I feel like, they basically, without the first movie, you don't have this movie. I don't think you can watch this movie standalone. So, like I said before, there was a huge demand for this, and they figured it out. Like, they figured out a way to put it together. Now, the only problem that I have with it is that, all right, the little girl's acting was whack. The story with the governor was corny. Um, but other than that, everything was funny. The way that they brought in Book were hilarious. The way that like I said before, the whole things with the scooters, the brooms,
Hmm.
that was great, and it was just amazing to see how they brought all these people back. Um, and it was just great timing, great timing. So like, I definitely give it a thumbs up, and I can't wait to see what continues because I think that the lady flying at the end, flying behind those girls, it means that there's going to be more.
The funny thing about it, and this is a spoiler alert, C and I have been talking about doing a throwback episode with the original crew on Unpopular Review Entertainment. And I talk about, and you'll see where I'm going with this. I talk about how the Sanderson sisters got back on, Bette Miller, Kathleen and Jimmy, and Sarah Michelle Gellar, and it felt like no time has passed. And doing this episode, even though it's hard to pick a time in the day because of a hurricane, people busy and stuff like that, people running around, we're doing this and it feels like no time has passed because Vic doing all that talking about it's a sequel. It's like nothing's changed. Nothing has
Right.
changed at all. Right?
The only thing is the time has changed. Had James have been here tonight,
Oh, it's been an hour. When this
shut
episode's released, it's going to be an easy 23 minutes, if that. You know,
shout out to
um,
James.
Shout out to
Right.
James. He'll be on for our throwback episodes. Look out for that. We'll have that in a couple weeks. But in the meantime, um, this is tough for me. And understand when I give myself a thumbs, I'm gonna give myself. When I give this movie a thumbs up, a thumbs down, I'm actually doing it on a whim. And that's a bit of a spoiler because that shows you what I agree with C completely. This was not as good as the first one, but I don't think it was a bad movie. Um, when I mentioned earlier, as I had a conversation with C, and I said, I really rather them not do it because I feel like it's going to hurt this cult classic. I liked the movie. I enjoyed the movie. I never thought it was going to be better than the first one. How could it be better than the first one? First one was a great movie. I know people hate on it, but screw y'all. But I do feel like it kind of hurt it a little bit. I really do. I feel like it took away. And one thing that C mentioned, and I kind of somewhat mentioned it a little bit earlier, is the first one had them scenes in it where it was a little bit serious, even though it was still a comedy. So you're still watching somewhat of a kid's movie. But you're right. She mentioned it. Zachary Bink's sister got killed. They got hung. They didn't show you completely, but they showed where they were obviously hung when they took the kids and they were and they were going to suck the lives out of them, so to speak. That was actually, there was a scene when they even played the music. It was a little scary. And I never got that with this one. When they were burnt up and their little ashes or something was all in the chimney and they came back. That was, and then they came out of nowhere. That was a little scary. I never had that. It was just all jokes, fun, and games. Like, I can't take them seriously as the most popular and powerful witches of all time. And they tried
Yeah.
to at the Sharon Michelle Parker. I said Geller, thank you. And that was a bit of a problem for me. But my criteria is: do I like it better? No. Do I enjoy this movie? yeah, I enjoyed this movie. So it's going to get a thumbs up, but it was a really rough thumbs up, and it almost got a thumbs down. But I did enjoy the movie. I'm going to watch it again, and I recommend you do too. Thank you so much for watching us here on Popular Review Entertainment. Please make sure that you follow us. I know we've been slacking, but we are going to have our videos up every single Tuesday and Thursday. Make sure that you follow the Destiny Trio, wherever they call themselves.
Trio of Destiny, man.
Whatever.
Trio of Destiny.
I
You
butcher
didn't stop
the name every
hating
time.
and
Right?
to watch us do Miss Marvel. I mean,
Miss Marvel and every other Marvel show that comes out.
She-Hulk. We're gonna do
Miss
She-Hulk
Marvel
tomorrow.
I'm sure y'all doing a new season
more.
of Captain Falcon or Falcon Winter Soldier.
Oye, ¿por qué que a ti te gusta tú lo que estás con ganas de joder? You need to stop.
He's giving I'm not sure about that. And also, please make sure that you follow Popular Review Entertainment, right, one of the originals of YouTube channel, See the Superior. And we will see you next time right here. Have a good night or day, everybody.
Bye.
Good night, y'all.